Let me show you one more experiment done by an independent researcher, Dr. Alex Rottenberg. And the beauty of this experiment is that there is absolutely no wiggle room. This code found in the book of Genesis that deals with the story of Esther allows no room for manipulation. We're taking names of people, the 10 sons of the archvillain Haman. They all died on one day, the 13th of Adar. Again, names of people and date of death. 10 people, but the spellings are given to us in the book of Esther. No changes, no manipulation possible. We use the spellings exactly as they occur and check if they're next to the date of death. Yud Gimel Ba'adar. And lo and behold, one of these dates of death, incredibly, continues with the word Purim in code, the name of the holiday that is celebrated with the book of Esther. Using this particular date, incredibly small probabilities were arrived at in terms of the proximity of the names of those 10 sons to this particular date of death. There is no room for manipulation. There's no place where we could have changed it in any way. The names are given to us in a thousands of year old document. I think that's the most impressive thing that we have.
Assuming for the moment the code is real, what is its significance? What does the existence of the code mean to the average Christian or Jew? Couldn't some diligent, hard-working scribes have put the code in place over the centuries?
The Torah has been in its present form, according to all authorities, for an absolute minimum of 2,000 years, when it was translated into the Greek under the reign of Ptolemy II in Alexandria, the Septuagint. We can demonstrate, using the laws of quantum mechanics, specifically the uncertainty principle and chaos theory, that it is absolutely impossible within the laws of physics and mathematics as we know it today to know the future in detail as is demonstrated in these codes. Consequently, we come to the scientific conclusion that the author of these codes is not bound by the laws of physics and mathematics as we understand it.
It's obviously far beyond the ability of man to do. In fact, man didn't even discover the codes until the advent of the computer, so it was impossible for him to have put them there. The very fact that they're there is the signature of the Creator himself. That is his way of assuring us that he is precisely who he said he is in that document that is the core of the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Many believe that with the discovery of the Bible codes, science has brought us closer to an understanding of the divinity of the origins of the Bible. But what does the Bible itself have to say about hidden messages?
Many people are surprised to discover that there are codes in the Bible, and these equidistant letter sequences are but one of them. Some are hidden, some are revealed, some are a key part of the narrative, like the handwriting on the wall in Daniel 5. The Bible points out that it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the glory of kings to search them out. The computer has simply made it possible for us to discover codes that would be very difficult to find any other way.
Originally, it was thought that only the Torah contained Bible codes. We now know that the entire Tanakh, commonly known as the Old Testament, has encoded information within the Hebrew text. Also, software is presently being developed to determine if there is a Bible code present in the Textus Receptus, the Greek New Testament used for the King James Bible translation.
Perhaps the age-old enemies, science and religion, can get together after all. But confirming the existence of the code was just the beginning of the adventure. It is the information contained in the code that has ignited the debate and focused the attention of the world on the Bible once again. In 1994, Michael Drosnin, a writer and former journalist with the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post, flew to Israel to meet with a close friend of then Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. He carried with him a letter with frightening implications.
Using the Bible code myself, about 2 years into my investigation, I found encoded the name of the Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin. The only time his name was encoded in the Bible, and crossing his name, as plain as day, were the words, "Assassin will assassinate." I was shocked. So I flew to Israel, and I met with Yitzhak Rabin's closest friend, a very well-known Israeli writer, Chaim Guri. And I told Rabin in that letter exactly what I've just told you. That the one time his name, Yitzhak Rabin, was encoded in the Bible, the words "assassin will assassinate" ran right across his name.
Are you seriously suggesting the Torah actually says that Rabin will be assassinated?
All I can tell you is what's in there. Will you give him the letter?
In his letter, Michael Drosnin told the Prime Minister, "I have uncovered information that suggests your life is in danger." He went on to explain that it was an Israeli mathematician that had discovered a hidden code in the Bible that appears to reveal the details of events that took place thousands of years after the Bible was written. The letter also pointed out that the information had been confirmed by famous mathematicians, and the results have been replicated by a senior codebreaker at the Pentagon using his own computer program.
This should not be ignored.
Guri read the letter, but his response was not very encouraging.
All right, I'll take it to him. But I know the Prime Minister, and I don't believe he'll pay any attention to these Bible codes.
Guri's assessment proved all too accurate. The Prime Minister made no attempt to contact Drosnin and apparently ignored the warning completely.
And of course, a year later, he was killed. Exactly as the Bible code said he would be, indeed in the very year that the Bible code said he would be killed. All found a year in advance. I failed because I had tried to warn the Prime Minister. I had managed to put the warning in his hands. He'd ignored the warning, and now he was dead. I do not control what anyone does, let alone what a Prime Minister does. I'm used to reporting on events that already have taken place, not telling people what might happen tomorrow. It's a very strange position for me to be in as a reporter, but I cannot ignore this. I'm doing only what I've always done as a reporter. I'm checking out the information, and once I determine it's accurate, I'm sharing it with as many people as possible. But yeah, the responsibility does feel larger. There's no question of it.
In his book, The Bible Code, Michael Drosnin explains a series of events in some detail. However, Drosnin's discovery of the Rabin assassination in the Bible Code has triggered controversy on a whole new level. Can the code be used to let us see into the future? If not, what purpose does it serve?
The Bible codes are there so when the future happens, it confirms Scripture as the divinely inspired Word of God.
The Bible code reveals accurate details about people and events that took place who lived long after the Bible was written. We can go to events as recent as the bombing in Oklahoma, where we have the name of the building that was blown up, the Marah building, encoded, Oklahoma encoded, even the name of the man who was arrested and convicted for the crime, Timothy McVeigh, all encoded in a document that's 3,000 years old. Watergate is encoded. The one time that word appears, there's a question. Who is he? President, but he was kicked out. Economic crisis is encoded one time in the Bible, and with it is the year of the great stock market crash, the year the Great Depression began, 1929. The collision of the comet with Jupiter in July 1994, found 2 months before the collision took place, was encoded twice in the Old Testament, with the exact name of the comet, Shoemaker-Levy, which had only been discovered a year earlier. In both cases, the name of the comet actually crossed the name of the planet, Jupiter, and in one of the encodings, we had the exact day of impact. Of course, World War II and the Holocaust are very clearly encoded in extraordinary detail. We have Hitler encoded with Nazi and enemy, and evil man and slaughter.
The whole world was saddened and astonished when Lady Di tragically was killed in an accident in Paris, France. Yet when we began to do research with the computer program, we were astonished to discover that even this event had been recorded in ELS codes 3,500 years before it occurred. We found the name Princess and Diana encoded at the same ELS distance. Then beside it we found the word Spencer, her real name, together with Wales, as she was the Princess of Wales. Then in the surrounding verses we found encoded France and Paris. Then we looked and discovered tunnel and river. We found the very year 5757, which is 1997 in our calendar. We found Av, the month of August when she was killed. Most remarkably of all, we found the name Fayed, her companion in that tragic accident. All of this encoded 35 centuries before the event actually occurred.
Logic tells me that the Bible was encoded to give us very important information. It was encoded, certainly, by some intelligence that could see ahead, across time. It was encoded in such a way that it would be found right now by a technology that would exist for the first time now, the computer.
When going into the future, we have to guess at the words because the event hasn't happened yet. We don't know what it is. As soon as you start guessing the words, as soon as you start guessing the context and trying to determine what would be the event that would use these words, you're out of the realm of science. You're guessing. It's subjective. It's not scientific anymore.
The Bible code does not give us one predetermined future. It tells us all of our possible futures. And by having this information in advance, we can prevent the worst dangers from ever taking place.
The more important question might be, will we, in the final analysis, believe what we learn?
News from around the world.
Nations, as well as individuals, seem to have a knack for ignoring important warnings. World War II gives us some excellent examples. Prior to America's entrance into World War II, the Japanese adapted the German Enigma code into an advanced variation the Allies called Purple. A brilliant cryptographer by the name of William Friedman, head of the fledgling Signal Intelligence Agency, was determined to crack it. With unbelievable dedication, Friedman almost single-handedly cracked the code in just over 20 months. His effort had been so intense that upon completing the task, he suffered a complete mental collapse. But the impossible had been accomplished. The Germans were leaked the information that Purple had been cracked and sent the information on to the Japanese, who simply refused to believe it. Their plan to attack Pearl Harbor went forward, and in fact, naval intelligence intercepted and decoded a transmission from Japanese Admiral Yamamoto to his fleet. The Japanese refused to believe their code could be broken, but now it was America's turn. Naval intelligence had in their hands confirmation that the Japanese fleet was heading toward Pearl Harbor. The monumental effort Friedman had put forth was about to pay off. Or was it?
What is this? It just came in, sir. Our boys back at Signal have broken Purple.
Sure they have. Have you told anyone about this?
No, sir.
Then don't. Those guys over at Signal haven't cracked that code. I think somebody's trying to see if we're awake over here.
But, sir...
That's all.
The Signal Intelligence Service had intercepted and decoded a message from Admiral Yamamoto to his fleet and immediately passed the information on to naval intelligence. But the warning was dismissed. Even the American officers didn't believe that the code had been broken.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.